All right, let's dive right into this explainer. Today, we are putting on our auditor hats to conduct a formal, high-level legal audit of an absolutely astonishing mathematical anomaly discovered in ancient texts. We are looking at a specific, highly regulated pattern that the source material refers to as the 17th day master frequency. And look, whether you approach these texts from a historical, literary, or pure data analysis perspective, the mathematical anomalies we are about to audit are genuinely hard to ignore.
Right out of the gate, the source material throws out a frankly mind-bending claim. They state that 33 specific, major historical events land on the exact same numerical day of the month. Now, when you run the formula for independent events, the calculated probability of this sequence happening just by random chance is roughly 1 in 5 decillion. Yeah, you heard that right. That is a 5 followed by 48 zeros.
To even wrap our heads around the sheer scale of math like that, let's look at a physical comparison. There are roughly 10 to the 21st power grains of sand on all the beaches on planet Earth. The probability of this 33-event sequence happening by pure luck, it's trillions upon trillions of times smaller than you walking up to any beach, anywhere in the world, and picking one specific, predetermined grain of sand out of the entire planet on your very first try. Statistically speaking, it's virtually impossible.
So, how exactly do the sources back up this incredible claim? Well, in this audit, we're going to investigate through 5 systematic steps. 1. The data framework. 2. Pillars of evidence. 3. Forensic locks. 4. Historical tampering. And finally, 5. The audit verdict.
Step 1. The data framework.
Now, before we can even review the historical evidence, we absolutely must establish the exact fixed metric being used for this audit. You know, if your ruler is broken, your measurements are completely useless, right? So we're looking at the 364-day solar calendar. In this fixed ancient system, every single month has exactly 30 or 31 days. This means a single event's chance of landing on the 17th day is roughly 1 in 30. When calculating the likelihood of all 33 independent historical events falling on the 17th, this strict solar system is literally the only framework where the data perfectly aligns. The source makes it crystal clear. If you use a lunar calendar, the math completely falls apart.
Moving on to step 2, the pillars of evidence.
Let's open up the historical ledger here and isolate a few key milestones from these ancient texts. First, we see Noah's Ark resting on the 17th day of the 7th month, which the source describes as a mathematical anchor. Fast forward centuries, and we see the Nativity and the Resurrection both perfectly hitting that exact same 17th day frequency. According to the audit, each of these functions as a verified, locked data point. It's just a relentless, unbroken repetition of the number 17 attached to major historical shifts.
And when you trace this master frequency chronologically across our timeline, it reveals something truly fascinating. From the very start of the biblical timeline at the flood, spanning massive gaps in time through to 2 BC, then 33 AD, and even looking forward to the 120th Jubilee in the year 2026, the 17th day acts as a continuous timestamp. It spans millennia without breaking its mathematical rhythm. That is an astonishing, unbroken forensic chain.
Which brings us to step 3, the forensic locks.
In any high-level legal audit, raw data has to be verified against tampering to ensure it hasn't just been perfectly reverse-engineered, while the source material identifies 3 specific forensic locks that seal the math: the 364-day constant, the 1544 Josephus gap, and the 17 to 20 bridge. Together, these 3 factors don't just add to the data pile. They exponentially increase the mathematical complexity and verify the chronological integrity of the entire timeline. Let's break these down.
Lock number 1 is the 364-day constant, and its crucial point is that it completely prevents calendar drift. Think about it. If you calculated these ancient dates using a lunar system, or our modern Gregorian system, the dates would naturally drift completely out of alignment over the centuries. The source emphasizes that the fact they only align in the ancient Ethiopian solar calendar proves the system itself was purposely designed to catch these specific frequency markers.
Then we have the second lock, the 1544 Josephus gap. The explainer outlines that a known 3-year printing error occurred in historical texts authored by Josephus back in 1544. But here's the crazy part. When you correct this specific historical gap, it perfectly restores the 17th day alignment for massive events like the Nativity and the Resurrection. The audit argues that the probability of a random typo perfectly hiding an underlying 17th day alignment is virtually non-existent. It acts as a mathematical fingerprint.
And finally, the third lock, the 17 to 20 bridge.
This one suggests a profound mathematical intent in the numerical values themselves. For instance, the texts describe the figure Saul being struck blind on the 17th, which is a number representing victory in ancient contexts, and being redeemed on the 20th, the number for purchase. The source claims this specific 3-day mathematical pairing acts almost like a cryptographic key, pushing the overarching complexity far, far past a probability of 10 to the 50th power. No way that's an accident, right?
Next up, Step 4, Historical Tampering.
Now you're probably wondering, if this mathematical blueprint is so undeniably precise, and those forensic locks are so mathematically perfect, why isn't this widely known in standard historical or modern religious texts? Well, the sources present a deeply intriguing answer. They point straight to deliberate historical tampering, specifically noting Roman erasure at the Council of Nicaea in 325 AD. The assertion is that these highly specific dates were intentionally stripped from the 66-book Western Bible. According to the audit, this was done on purpose to obscure the timeline, hide this 17th frequency, and prevent future generations from tracking major milestones like the 120th Jubilee.
And as a literal forensic receipt for this tampering, the source points to the Book of Jubilees. This is an ancient text preserved outside the Western canon, specifically found in the Ethiopian 81-book canon. It explicitly warns that a lying pen would move the feasts and dates to hide the truth. The source material treats this ancient text as documented historical evidence of the alleged erasure.
Which finally brings us to Step 5, the audit verdict.
So we've looked at the rigid calendar framework, the impossible 1 in 5 decillion probability, the cryptographic forensic locks, and the claims of historical erasure. What is the final verdict? In a high-level legal audit, a probability of this absolute magnitude is treated as a mathematical certainty. It defines the entire sequence as intentional design. The sources state that this level of mathematical proof essentially serves as a functional cease and desist against any argument that these alignments are just random chance. It proves we are looking at meticulously calculated historical data, rather than just a loose collection of mythological coincidences.
Ultimately, this audit forces a massive paradigm shift for us. Are the ancient texts that much of the world simply views as mere folklore or religious stories actually housing a deeply embedded, mathematically perfected timeline? The math, it seems, has delivered its verdict, leaving us to completely rethink exactly what kind of historical record we have inherited. Keep questioning the data, and I'll see you on the next explainer.